Hi,
Hi. Hi.
I'm Underbelly, and you suck at producing. In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to make any sound dreamy with Ableton's grain delay. But before we do, congratulations to Asles for winning the Asterism Remix contest. Out of dozens of submissions, this one caught Uncle Joe's attention the most for its incredible sound design and musicality. Take a listen. Oh, wowzers! You can take a listen to the full remix on my channel or by clicking through to the artist's SoundCloud in the description below. Now, for those of us who didn't win the contest, not all is lost. Because on June 1st, I'll be doing an in-person masterclass at Beat Lab Academy in Los Angeles. In the class, I'll be going over how to turn your ideas into fully finished shit songs. You can get tickets for the class by clicking on the link in the video description, but be sure to grab your seat soon as it's sure to sell out. Anyways, back to the video. Let's go ahead and learn how we can use Ableton's grain delay. Wowzers. Okay, so check it. Here we have Gerald and Derek. Let's take a listen. Oh, wowzers. Okay, now here's the thing. Gerald is very sad. I mean, ever since Sally left, he's just been drowning his sorrows with food, specifically pasta. And all those grains have been going straight to Gerald's thighs. He can't even get off the couch anymore. So what we need to do is we need to delay all those grains that Gerald has been eating. And what better way to do that than by using a grain delay? Now, just like any other delay pedal, the grain delay works by taking the input and repeating it back to us at regularly spaced intervals. We can control the number of repetitions by turning up the feedback slider over here. So as we turn it up, the number of repetitions increases. And we can make the repetitions further away from each other just by messing with this grid here. So this is the delay time in 16th notes. So right now this is 4/16, otherwise known as a quarter note. So we can change the repetition value there. We can also make the repetitions slightly faster or slower by messing with this slider here. Or we can free it from the grid entirely just by clicking on sync and switching it to a time value in milliseconds. Now here's the thing, all these parameters should be super familiar if you've ever used a delay pedal. What makes the grain delay so special? Well, the way it works is it takes the incoming signal and chops it up into tiny little pieces called grains, sort of like how Uncle Joe chops up the bodies to fit in our basement freezer. We can then take these grains and actually pitch them up and down using this pitch slider. Let's try it. I'm just going to go ahead and turn the pitch up while we're playing. Oh, Jesus! Okay, sounds like we're about to be chopped up and put inside Uncle Joe's basement freezer. That's fucking scary, man. Here's the thing. This is great if you want to make, I don't know, cool laser noises for Uncle Joe's next Star Wars porno. But for those of us who want to make something, I don't know, more musical, we probably need to adjust some parameters here. So let's go ahead and put the pitch up to 12 semitones, just an even octave. And what we're going to do is we're going to lower this frequency slider here. And what the frequency slider controls are the size of each grain. So maxed out, these are tiny little grains, super processed, very unhealthy. What we want to feed Gerald are some whole grains. So let's go ahead and turn down the frequency cutoff, the frequency knob right here. Now these grains are nice and big and whole. They sound like this. Oh, so much prettier. And here's the thing. Now what the feedback controls is how many times this pitch is applied to the signal. So right now, with the feedback at 0%, we're only going up an octave, 12 semitones once. But as I turn up the feedback here, we get more and more octaves in the signal. Sounds super bright and beautiful. And of course, it doesn't have to be an octave. We can also make it 7 semitones, otherwise known as a perfect fifth. Oh, beautiful. We can make it, I don't know, 3 semitones. Ugh, that's not so pretty, so I usually like to leave it at an octave here. And we can also randomize the pitch to create this sort of wobble effect. Oh, wowzers. And then finally we have the spray. Now, when the frequency knob is so low, when we're working with whole grains here, we don't really need the spray because we're working with all organic stuff, no pesticides. We don't need to spray it with anything. But if we're working with super processed grains, these tiny small grains here, the spray is useful because what it allows us to do is make it a little less metallic-y and kind of smear it out a little bit. Basically what the spray does is it randomizes the delay time to create this sort of smearing effect, sort of like how we smear paint over Derek's face to cover up the boils. Of course, this still sounds very ugly, so let's just put the spray and the frequency knob down to 0. But if you ever wanted to mess with both of these parameters at the same time, you could use these XY axis control to kind of map two parameters to just mess with here. Now over on the bottom here, you can select which parameter you want on the X-axis, so we can do spray here, and then which parameter you want on the Y-axis over here. So let's do spray and frequency. Oh, Jesus! Okay, I'm gonna save that for Uncle Joe's Star Wars porno. For now, let's just keep it real simple here. Frequency and spray all the way down. Super beautiful. Wowzers. Now it's still sounding a little bit too bright for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and put on an auto filter and just filter out those top frequencies. Make it sound a little bit, oh, wowzers, so dreamy. But here's the thing, what I want to do is if we take the grain delay and the auto filter off and just go back to regular old Gerald, I want to preserve the high frequencies of this original signal here. I want to let Gerald's originality shine through. So what I want to do is I want to filter just the grain delay stuff and keep the original signal of Gerald preserved, no filter, none of that. So what we can do is go ahead and hold down Shift and select both the auto filter and the grain delay and hit Command or Control G. And wowzers, what that does is it groups these two effects together into an audio effect rack. And if we hit this middle button here over on the left side, it shows us the chains. And what the chains do is they allow us to split the signal into parallel pathways. So we can have this one pathway, call it wet, and this will be the pathway with the grain delay on there. And we can create another chain so that we have two chains, and call it dry. And this is just going to be the original Gerald here that we know and love. So that's the dry signal. And this is the wet signal. And now we can combine the two and we can kind of adjust the volume of each of these individual chains here. So I'm going to start with the dry and slowly bring in the wet. Oh, that sounds beautiful. Wowzers. Oh my gosh, so dreamy, Gerald. Let's go ahead and hear you with Derek in there. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's luscious. Now here's the thing. Grain delay sounds amazing on guitar, but also it really works on percussion as well. So I'm just going to copy this audio effect rack, open up Derek here. Looks like we have some hi-hats here. Let's just go ahead and solo these out. I'm going to put the same audio effect rack on here. Now these hi-hats are a pretty bright sound, a lot of high frequency information. So let's go ahead and take off the auto filter. It sounds like this. Oh, wowzer, that's sounding pretty damn cool. I'm going to turn the sync off and just make it really quick. And this just creates a really nice little bit of stereo kind of high frequency information here. Sounds like this. Super pretty. None? Really boring? Oh, so beautiful. And we can even make something so boring as this click over here and make it really interesting using the same effect. So I'm just going to copy once again this audio effect rack over here. And wowzers, it's a little bit on the boring side. I'm actually just going to mute the dry signal here, just work with purely the wet. And let's just see how far we can take this. I'm going to turn up the feedback. Oh, wowzers. Maybe turn up the frequency. Wow, that's sounding really beautiful. Maybe turn up the random pitch. Ooh, oh, wowzers. Let's hear that in the mix. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm just going to eat whole grains for the rest of my life. This is amazing. Thank you, Gerald. Okay, so check it. Thanks for watching. Once again, you can get tickets to my class by clicking on the link in the video description. And also be sure to check out Asle's winning remix for the Asterism Remix Contest. I'm Underbelly. Have a great day.